Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for yet another adventure into Third Age Reforged. Today we have a 2v3 siege on Dale. First of all, I just like to make it known. I know it's been a very long time since I've made a video, but I'm gonna start uploading Reforged content again. It's just been a while, so basically. This is, like I said, a 2v3 siege battle on Dale. We try to base it off good versus evil. We have Gondor, commanded by Beppis Man. This was our first time reuniting in like about 2 years, so that was pretty cool. And then you got Dwarves, commanded by Dwarves Erebor, commanded by, of course, myself. We have, let's see, what is this? Ingmar, commanded by, I can't see, Grizzly Fox. We have, we have Mortar commanded by M1 Breakout. And we do have Rudar commanded by Ricky Beagle. So thank you for everyone who participated in this battle. Beppis Man and I, we were at a disadvantage already just due to this, the numbers. But him and I recently just got back into the mod. I've played a little bit more than he has. But this was my first time playing as Erebor since the last time I stopped playing, so I do not really remember when that was. Just gonna do a quick skim over the armies, just see what happens. It does start off decently fast. So let's go over Mordor's army first. In the front, we have what looks to be 4 units of Morannon infantry. Not the best, not the worst. They're decent. We have some halberds, about two units of those. We have orc fodder, of course. Not a good unit at all, but good for taking arrows and just being the first into the fight. However, they'll crumble if they're not supported. We have 2 units of orc javelins. These guys, not the highest tier javelins, but they can do a lot of damage, as you'll see in this battle. We have 2 units of Minas Morgul's chosen. Decent. They're pretty good for Mordor, considering Mordor. And then we do have Nazgul. These guys are, they're very small in number, but they're pretty elite. We have Temple Executioners. I believe they got a new texture for them. They used to have they used to look like crowns on their heads. So they do look really cool now, and they are a pretty elite unit. 2 units of Blackguard of Barad-dûr. These guys can push through a lot. These guys, you just form shield wall and push right through. And then we do have Olag Kai. Very annoying. They do look very cool with their hammers and maces. Very nice troll unit. And then we do have a troll catapult. Just a catapult. Just a troll catapult. I do believe that they can move faster. Alright. Over here, we have Amar. I do believe Amar does have a force somewhere else, so I'll have to look at that, or that might be Mordor. So we can see some Gundabad Guard, pikemen in the center. We have some nice elite infantry for Ingmar. More Gundabad Guard. They're kind of going for a defense. Quite a few people do this. It's pretty smart. It can help you decrease casualties in like cav charge or arrow fire. So in here we just have kind of their mid-tier units, Ingmar Marauders, stuff like that. Guardians of Karn Doom, Blackwatch Legion. They have a lot of mass, very good for pushing into choke points. I'm looking for the Witchers. They have Witchers. Witchers of Ingmar, 13. Those guys are deadly. Something you really want to watch out for. Very, very deadly. Alright. And then let's go over to Rudar.
Good night, bye.
Good night.
I'm gonna get you up at 9:30, okay?
Alright. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. So right here, we have Rudar. Kind of using their siege towers as a little bit of a wall, kind of a You know, pretty smart, pretty smart. We have the Dunman Spearman, of course, a lower tier unit, pushing up this ram to break down the gate, of course. We have rich Roman slavers who are, for Rudar, probably one of their best units. They are very intimidating. A lot of people focus them as soon as they have the chance. We have some more troll hunters, deadly javelin unit, some swordsmen, some more swordsmen. We do have some Rudar, or some Herondane pikemen. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce any of these names since the last time that the names are updated. We have some berserkers, also javelin units, very deadly. Some mid-tier and low-tier infantry. If we can look over here, we can see some nobles, some Rudar Cav, and I believe somebody had a. I believe Rudar. Yeah, Rudar does have more units than this. Trust me. I'm not too sure where they are. Someone had. I thought someone had a. Never mind. Maybe not. I thought someone had a secondary force somewhere, but yeah. So now I'll slow this down a bit. Oh, slow this down to 0.5 for now. So we'll go ahead and go on to Gondor. I'll save myself for last. So in the town center, we have some Nimlothian Honor Guard. They're a nice spear unit. We can see some Wardens of the White Tower, a nice swords unit Gondor can bring. Pelargir Marines, deadly javelins in a very nice position. We can see 2 units of Fountain Guard, a very high tier, I believe, halberd unit. Or that might be a pike. I don't know, but they're very deadly. Anyways, we see some low tier Gondor archers on this wall, and as well we can see some the same thing, Gondor archers, veterans of Osgiliath, a nice unit. Let's get them here. Axemen, Losarnek. 2 guardians of Osgiliath, nice, very nice. We got a trebuchet. Alright, that's part of my unit. Raven Helms of Kirandros. Have some units over here as well. Yeah, so as we can see, they do have Vanguard of King Elisar. Some pretty decent Gondor infantry, as well as some Pelargir Marines. And I think that's all for Gondor. I may have missed a couple units. All right, now we'll go on to my army. I was, of course, since I'm the Doors, I'm pretty heavy infantry and pikemen, halberd based is what I brought. So I do have some, I believe I have 2 units of crossbowmen. I do have a unit of Blacklock Engineers, axe throwers. I have 3 units of halberds, I believe 2 or 3 units of pikes. As we can see, I brought some spears as well, 3 units of spears, axe guard of Erebor. And then over here, of course, I have my halberds lining up at the gate. Some more pikes, more halberds. So I got my crossbowmen right here. And then over here, you can see just some more spears, Sons of Durin, Blacklock Engineers, very deadly. Axe throwers. I do think I have my infantry over here. Infantry and pikes are over here. Yeah, alright. Let's go ahead and speed this up to normal speed. It's just going to be a slow advance. Basically, we decided that it would be more beneficial if we withdrew our forces from the outmost layer and defended the second layer, because we were going to defend the outer layer, but we realized that we might as well defend the second layer, since we were expecting a force over here, so we were prepared to defend this. So we thought we might as well just defend the second layer, so that's why we made our decision. I was more of going to defend over here and along the right side walls, although as you can see, nobody deployed forces over here, but that will slightly change later. Yeah, so Rudar is moving up their siege towers. They're not going to be able to bring their siege towers inside the settlement because they're going to get stuck on the walls. So that's So that's not very good, you know. That's what every siege tower is one less spot that they can go through to attack. We can see the ram already at the gates. Spearman pushing it up. Speed it up a little bit. And we're kind of just figuring out what to do. I have a decent amount of my forces concentrated over here, so eventually I'm going to start to pull my forces away from here and take them towards the main battle, so we can continue to defend this. So one thing that is unfortunate is if you for example set up a V formation at the gate to have a you can have, for example, crossbows up here to shoot right into the enemy. That's good. However, in this settlement, it's so close quarters that if you try to retreat men, they'll end up getting caught here and they'll slowly start taking casualties. Or if you try to bring reinforcements to this side, they'll also get caught here. So that's one thing that you need to keep an eye on during this battle, because it does happen a couple times. But we can see Mordor kind of just... Oh, yeah. Here. They had some more Guardians of Karn Doom. Oh, no, that's Angmar. Yeah, alright. So Angmar had the force that I was looking for. Small force, but pretty elite. I think 2 units of Guardians of Karn Doom. It looks like... Oh, saw some... oh, yeah, there's some Scourge Raiders. So, yeah. They're kind of just moving up. Alright, there goes the gate on the rear side. Let's go ahead and take a look over there. Pretty menacing army from Mordor and Angmar. Alright, so Rudar is through the gates. They're just moving in their units. They did bring up these siege towers, and they're going to start sending their units through the siege towers, through the gate. They're getting all their men into the settlement. So you can see just abandoning the other siege towers. Just slowly heading into the fortress. Some rangers, yeah. So like I said, they did have hidden units. And just keep an eye on the Rudar player, because he knows how to use his javelins. Let's just say that. So yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. Angmar slowly moving forward. They're bringing up 2 rams actually, and a siege tower, as well as over here. They are sending 2 rams and a siege tower as well. Didn't want to waste their ammo with the troll catapult to break through, so they're just gonna send some rams over here. However, we can see that Gondor's trebuchet is firing into Mordor. However, at this point, we were kind of just talking and saying that this is not going to be very, very beneficial, because as you can see, it's basically just orc fodder, Moran, and infantry. So it's not a very worthwhile target. He could be saving his ammo for more elite units. But 2 pretty nice shots. But he is going to stop firing here in a second. So we can see missing some volleys. And a lot of these units are in loose formation, which I think Angmar and Mordor realized that once the first volley of trebuchet came in, that they can't really stay tightly packed. So everyone's in loose formation now. You can see orc fodder pulling back here and trying to go for the catapult. I think trebuchet is going to start firing very shortly. I believe it may have stopped. Is it going to shoot again? No, but at this point, I was just like, it's not beneficial enough to use your trebuchet on that. So you can see Thillian Rangers coming off the walls, heading over to the Rudar side. Just because the Rudar is very lightly armored. They have some, I don't know, what looks like leather armor and maybe wooden shield, thin wooden shield. Bring up the ram. Very eager to take down the gate. I'm kind of just reforming my army. My obsidian guard, I'm going to end up moving back into the town center. And as you can see, I'm starting to bring some of my men here. It's not the best position. I think I should have I should have engaged in the defense a bit more on the second layer, but I was kind of the defense in the last layer. So I realized the the error I made, but at halfway through it was a bit too late. So we can see a kind of sally out from the Axemen of Lossarnak, charging right into the Dunman Spearmen who were bringing up that ram. Just try to prevent them from doing so. Maybe get some easy kills. However, I don't think he realized that they were charging out because I had to tell him, and then he retreated. So we can see a couple just chilling right there in the center. Yeah, the Axemen are going to attempt to charge here, but they're kind of just going to continue running. You can see the archers now firing at the rangers, the enemy rangers. So pretty nice unit to take out. I might wait until they blob up a little bit more. But yeah, he's kind of hugging the walls, presumably behind these buildings to take cover from the fire. We can see they're spreading out their forces to Angmar's side as well. They're gonna try to pressure, use all the choke points that they possibly can. Sorry. All right, so still have units over here, mainly Gondor's units. I do still have about 3 units over here, and I do believe yeah. All right, so that's gonna be later on. So mainly Gondor units. I do have 2 units of halberds. No, 1 unit pikes, 1 unit halberds, and 1 unit spears. So I'm gonna eventually realize that nobody's gonna come through here, so I just retreat them over here. I did leave 1 unit. I'm already bringing my pikes and everything. I'm kind of just leaving my men in a blob here, not really doing much. I should be setting up the defense, helping on this side, helping on that side, getting my crossbows on the wall. However, I do have my crossbows on the wall. I did not want to take shots, however, at Rudar, because these were some very low tier units, and I wanted to save the armor-piercing bolts for my crossbows to fire into some more heavily armored units that may come forward from Angmar and such. So you can see the spearmen advancing. I'm gonna just take a couple shots from the towers up here. We try to get the gate to close. It is gonna close eventually, I believe. I think it's because of the guards that are so close, or it might be because of the archers. So the spearmen are just gonna chill right here. You can see the troll hunters coming up. I think we all know who play Reforged, well, what they're gonna do. So it's just a matter of time. You can see Angmar now pouring through the gates. They got some Blackwatch Legion pouring through. Snaga archers. You can see some casualties up here. Looks like Rudar forces. Yeah, so we did see the Harandian Rangers up on the walls, probably attempting to start taking shots. If they can see any defenders in there, which they would not be able to get a very nice shot, but presumably on the Axemen of Lossarnak, Sarnak. But they did take a hefty amount of losses, so I think they retreated them right off as soon as they noticed what was happening. We can see some swordsmen, just quite a few units just taking cover behind these walls. We can see a decent force. We can see some Snaga archers, swordsmen, just kind of moving up towards the gate. The gate finally closed, so that's good. Where is their ram? Yeah, so it's right here. They're going to move it in shortly. It's kind of just in advancing. Speed it up a bit. Alright, so they did break through the gate over here. Just waiting for them to advance. Alright. Pretty nice. Pretty big army, but it's expected with mortar. Your units aren't of the highest quality. They kind of rely on their mass and their numbers. Alright, so I take that back. The gate was opened, and I believe that Angmar went through it, but anyways, they do have their rams coming back up. So, Angmar is bringing up some marauders up here. We do see a defense from the Fountain Guard. They are ready to defend this gate. Alright, we can see just kind of in the skirmishing phase now. Some lightly armored Rudor axemen taking a beating as they're coming up the alleyway. They don't really have much armor. Some very, very light, thin armor. So they're taking heavy losses. And I think Gondor realized that they didn't have much armor. We can see the troll hunters just chilling out the gate, ready to do their thing. Some swordsmen, some spearmen. Presumably there to stop a counterattack. We can see the Peligre Marines ready to throw their javelins. I am getting my crossbows up to the gate, so when we do have... Alright, Rudar is now through the gates. Sorry, gotta crack my knuckles. Alright. So we can see some javelins coming in through the gate. They're kind of just going into some shields and some pretty low tier infantry, so a lot of them actually going into the ground behind them, but they are hitting a couple of troll hunters and such. Alright, we can see some swordsmen and axemen rushing right through. Now that was a pretty deadly volley because it went straight to the attackers. Alright, I'll lower it a little bit more. Alright, so it's just kind of an engagement now between Guards of Osgiliath and a really nice angle for the Peligre Marines to fire. Although if Rudar wanted to, they could just rush it in. But there was a mass rout due just to the extreme amount of they're stuck on both sides as well. The Peligre Marines just throwing their javelins and absolutely cutting these guys down. So a pretty mass rout for some pretty healthy units. 101 spearmen. Keep in mind they're a very low tier though, so to be expected. Ingmar kind of just chilling over here. You got a ram. There's not really going to be a need for that. All gates are broken. They're bringing up their ram. Some Ingmar pike or some Witchrealm pikemen from Ingmar. Looks like they're pushing up the ram. It's a questionable decision to put your pikemen to bring the ram up. I don't know why they didn't use the orc fodder and such, but alright, the ram's getting closer and closer towards the gate. We can see just the carnage that was left from all the Rudar forces. Peligre Marines just really doing a hefty job killing a decent amount of units. However, they were pretty low tier. So we can see, it looks like what, Snaga? Yeah, Snaga archers taking some volleys straight into the Peligre Marines. So, you know, Snaga aren't really the highest tier of archer units, so it's not going to affect the Peligre Marines much. They are out of ammo. I think Gondor really just wants to try to soak up the ammo of the archers. However, even with their numbers, they will slowly chip away at your forces, but at the end you won't take very many losses. They do have some shields. They are pretty lightly armored, have taken a few casualties, but they're not, like I said, the highest tier unit. Alright, there goes Ingmar. They have just broken through the gates. Let's go check over here. Yeah, Fountain Guard forming a V formation. Learned that from Pixelated Apollo. Alright. Snaga archers just advancing slightly to get a better position. Let's see. We do see some the troll hunters, the original troll hunters, pretty depleted with taking quite a few casualties right here, and they are going to position themselves to attempt to throw their javelins. I am now, as you can see, what I was talking about, moving in my pikes and some warriors, and I am going to move in some halberds. Like I said, you're pretty vulnerable when you're running through this, because, for example, I could have taken some volleys from the troll hunters and such, or could have just gotten stuck in melee. But fortunately for me, I did get my troops to go through safely. Peligre Marines rushing up, presumably to counterattack the Edamor's troll hunters before they get volleys. As you can see, I move in to fill this gap. Just in case anybody tries to attempt to rush through here, I can meet them with my Ironfur warriors. They're not the best unit, but they can definitely hold their own, especially with the units that were originally committed, some pretty low tier, lightly armored units. We can see the Peligrim Marines kind of chasing down the Troll Hunters just to prevent them from using their javelins. They are going to take a pretty nasty volley of javelins to the face. However, I'd way rather have the Peligrim Marines take that volley than, say, my halberds, his guards of Osgiliath. So, yeah, in the end, it wasn't really the worst. You can see the Peligrim Marines just kind of littering the ground here, taking some shots from the back from the Snaga archers. So they did take about 2 casualties from that volley. They are gonna just kind of retreat. They're just kind of there to stop, to counterattack any archers or javelins. As you can see, Snog archers taking a couple casualties here and there. They're in loose formation. They have kind of the cover of this hill. Alright, we can see some Guardians of Karn Doom moving up slowly. Angmar looking like they're ready to commit. And over here we have the first engagement between some Angmar Marauders. We can see kind of they're just rushing in with force now. You can see a lot of Angmar units, shielded units, so they're not going to be the best against these Founding Guard. They should hold for quite a while. You can see the Gondor archers haven't started taking volleys, kind of reposition themselves. However, my crossbows are also on the wall, and I'm kind of just going to be the reinforcements here. So at this point, Guardians of Karn Doom are moving in. Edinburgh's Troll Hunters are at the gates. My Ironfoot Warriors did take one volley of the from the Edinburgh Troll Hunters. I am moving in the Ironfoot Warriors to try to surround them. So this is a good play. This is what I suggest doing sometimes. However, sometimes it doesn't work because then you might get pushed through very easily. You can see all the forces kind of stuck right here, concentrated in one small radius. So we can see Guards of Osgiliath units poking them from both sides, and then my Ironfoot Warriors kind of just making it even more painful and just attacking from the center. However, they're kind of caught up here. These Peligrim Marines also wanting a part of this. We can see 185 Angmar Marauders. They are routing with decent force, decent size. So it's to be expected when they're facing up against this high tier of infantry with arrow support from the Athelian Rangers, pikes, and decently skilled Ironfoot Warriors. And then that kind of triggered a mass rout between some actually decently elite units from Angmar. Two large units of Angmar Marauders routing as well. We can see Guardians of Karn Doom, probably I think two or three units of them. I think 2 routing. Peligrim Marines kind of just holding themselves up into the gatehouse. Let's go back over here. We can see that Mordor is starting to pour. Mordor and Angmar both starting to pour forces into here. We can see some Axemen of Lost Arnak. This unit of Founding Guard, is getting pushed back slightly. They are starting to slowly thin out, actually taking quite a few casualties. This unit, however, holding their own over here. This is a pretty nice blob. It's not the most elite, but we can see some orc fodder and such, and some javelins from the orc javelins coming out in right to the Fountain Guard, having a pretty nice angle on them. Not the entire unit is firing, but some of them. Of course, the Fountain Guard are pretty elite, and they're gonna just take some of those javelins, but they are gonna start taking losses over time. And then we can see I am starting to fire my crossbowmen into the blob, because I see that some of these units are slightly armed, and I saw an opportunity to help my ally, and saw that these orcs had their backs to my crossbows, and I decided to take a couple volleys. I am moving in my axe throwers. I believe his Peligrim Marines have used their javelins. So over here, we can see the Troll Hunters just being very annoying, moving up, and then we can see same tactic. Peligrim Marines move to intercept them. However, I believe they're going to get this volley off. Yes, they got a very nice volley into my Ironfoot Warriors, which at this point, the reason I didn't retreat is because in my mind I was thinking, Alright, so if I move my Iron for Warriors, then he's just going to start getting some very nice shots into the guards of Osgiliath and such. And I was like, and I have 2 units of Ironfoot Warriors, and they're not the highest tier. And I honestly think it'd be worth it to take casualties from them. So at that point, that's my thinking. I committed my 2nd unit of Ironfoot Warriors over here because I did notice a push, and I believe I have stopped my crossbows are no longer firing, but his archers are firing right into the backs of these Blackwatch Legion. Actually, into their shields, which is questionable. Shields probably taking a lot of the shots. We can see Gondor archers as well up here, taking shots. It's a lot of orc fodder and such. The Fountain Guard are cut down to about half size since we last saw them. Fountain Guard over here doing preferably better than this unit. We can see they're just kind of pouring in with numbers now. We still have on this right flank right here, the Gundabad Guard are really making their presence felt. They actually cut through this unit of axemen that were on this flank, and they're still here trying to push through. But against this pretty healthy unit, I think they're gonna cut down. And we do have. I am moving my halberds in just to stop any. Just kind of a backup, just in case they manage to somehow break through. You can see just a whole bunch of forces concentrated here of mainly orc fodder. Over here, just Peregrine Marines engaging the Edinburgh's Troll Hunters. It's kind of just cat and mouse at this point. They're kind of just moving them in and then retreating them. So it did start to get a little bit annoying. So the archers, not all of the unit is firing, which I notice is usually a problem. However, my axe throwers are getting some pretty nice volleys of axes. However, it's not worth it because it's just orc fodder. So at this point, making a pretty critical error. These guys could pose a decent threat to the enemy, and I'm just wasting them with orc fodder. So. Not suggested to do. We can see the Gundabad Guard now fighting to the death. My Ironfoot Warriors is too much. However, I'm just using my force to push right through so I can attack this fodder that's surrounding and killing off his Fountain Guard, whoever they are. However, they are at 8 men left in unit, so it's questionable. I did start to take quite a bit of friendly fire. We can see a fresh unit of Guardians of Karn Doom coming back in here. And what looks like Orc Javelins trying to push their way through. However, they got caught in melee, so it's going to take them out. Some Scourge Raiders. They do have axes that they can throw before they go into combat. You can see the Troll Hunter's now at 36. My unit at 106, so I've taken one more volley since we last saw. They are wavering now. We can see the Swordsmen kind of just there to back up the Troll Hunters when they are charged. So at this point, I think the Peregrine Marines are basically gone. Just using this for cover. However, I have a lot of units just concentrated to random places over here. However, at this point, I'm moving out my last unit of halberds. I have 1 unit of spears at the gate. He has 1 unit of Gondor infantry and the vanguard. However, at this point, it doesn't look like much is going to happen. So, this is kind of just a rear guard just in case they do somehow send over a sneak attack. However, the Edinburgh Troll Hunters still at the gate. My Ironfoot Warriors did take 1 to 2 more really good volleys, and they're now down to 94. So, getting pretty depleted. Troll Hunters falling back. They are also pretty depleted. They've taken heavy casualties. Over here, my Ironfoot Warriors taken about 18 casualties. Fountain Guard still doing decently well since the last time we saw them. They were at around 50 something. And then just a heavy concentration of Guardians of Karn Doom right here. Orc Javies kind of just sitting here. We can see some Morannan infantry now being committed. It looks like 2 units of them. 2 units. Mortar still. Angmar still has about 1 unit over here, I believe. Oh, 2. 1 unit of Witch Run Pikemen. Mortar is still looking pretty healthy. We can see the burnt bodies from the trebuchet. There's a huge stream of orcs. Over here, however, down to 82. So I've taken another. You can see some troll shot axe throwers. At this point, I was like, I can't take much more. So I started to retreat my Ironfoot warriors. However, that was a questionable decision because they took a volley to the back of axes. And that cuts them down to about 760 something. 69. Alright. Some axemen. A decently healthy unit of axemen charging right into the back of the troll shot axe throwers. However, they're just going to be reinforced by the swordsmen. See the axe throwers coming back. Rudar has a lot of javelins. And in this battle, he used them very tactical. However, nobody else really had fun with that, except his allies. We can see Miranda and infantry just using brute force to just push right through. There was a small engagement up here. Gundar archers did end up winning that. The Fountain Guard came up here. However, the Fountain Guard now at 34, getting very depleted. My Ironfoot warriors at 45, just since he's been surrounded for so long. Miranda and infantry heavily concentrated up here. His archers are now firing into this blob. It's getting very worrying for us. Because at this point, the attack has hardly started and we're already starting to fall over here. So I should have sent more infantry. I believe I do send 1 or 2 more units. And just the axe throwers now doing what I kept my Ironfoot warriors there to previously prevent. However, the Guards of Osgiliath, a very, very elite unit, now getting cut down by this axeman. And a pretty nice volley into... where are they? I know they're here. Where did they go? Alright. I think it's the veterans of Osgiliath, I believe. However, I do still have my axe throwers up here. We can see Miranda infantry harassing these archers. They're trying to get out of there. I do have a backup of Ironfoot halberds just to keep it to keep it in check, and I do have another unit of pikes. These Guards of Osgiliath now coming back in. The tactic that he tried to do was do as much damage as possible and also make it so that we would retreat and he could send units through the gate. However, all these units kind of focusing on this one unit and not really what they should have done is just push straight through here, because from there they probably would have eventually been defeated and pushed back. However, they would have been able to get past here in these skirmishers. But they kind of just all focused on this one unit in this. So the Guards of Osgiliath getting there just in time to prevent them from going right through. I am starting to move my Ironfoot warriors back to fill in the gap in the middle. Over here, we can see that they were basically victorious. The last of the Fountain Guard and the archers getting cut down. Actually, the last unit of archers still up on this wall. However, you can see that the orc javelins, really, javelins in this battle, just playing a huge part in it. My Ironfoot halberds are not having fun with this, so I'm kind of in a nice formation. However, at this point, I'm like, I'm not taking any more of this, so I do charge in. However, unfortunately, my halberds are not going to stay in their wanted formation, so they're going to just eventually just be cut down. They're heading up on the wall. It looks like they're heading up on the wall. I believe they thought that I meant to attack these guys, but yeah, some of them are on the wall, some of them are down here fighting. But as you can see, the halberd formation, is really not there anymore. My axes are still up here with I believe two or three more volleys. I believe 2, and yeah, I do believe that's a Pilgrim Marines. Yes, and very nice angle. Aganda really in this battle, like using the terrain, and as well as my axe throwers, now throwing their projectiles into the oncoming Rich Realm pikemen. The Moran guard taking pretty heavy losses from that as well. You can see nothing really holding these guys back. However, I did mobilize my pikes just to kind of stop this advance. His archers are still here. My crossbows are going to attempt to do as much damage as possible. Send a couple volleys their way, which is actually going to be very nice. You can see completely cutting down Mordor's force over here. My axe throwers presumably out of ammo. Yeah. No, one more volley left, I believe. Alright, over here. So, at this point, Angmar and Rudar are just trying to use brute force to push right through. Guards of Osgiliath doing pretty nice. Still defending the flanks. We can see over here a little gap. They're now able to start. Eventually, they're going to completely surround this unit. However, I do see that, and I do send my spears. Actually, what happened is I tried to send my spears over here. However, they did get caught up here, and I just ended up committing them to defend our left side flank. However, in the process of doing that, like I said, they were left very vulnerable, and they are going to take a decent amount of damage from some volleys from the axe throwers. Angmar being pushed back slowly but surely. Over here, we still have the same units, just kind of being rear guards. However, if we go back over here, Mordor and Angmar still continuing to commit forces. The veterans of Osgiliath and what remains of my halberd is going to reform a second defense line. And he's kind of just focusing these Scourge Raiders. I don't know if they've thrown their volleys yet, but once they have, they're just going to charge right in. We can see some Guardians of Karn Doom re-entering the fight. These archers kind of stuck up here against these this Moran and infantry. Veterans of Osgiliath going to charge straight in. And let's just see what's happening. So this is when I do commit, because I see that our line is faltering. These guys are getting cut down. Our line's looking very thin, and I'm being a little bit too passive. That's kind of the player I am, a passive player. I like to save my units. However, at this point, it's really just time. Like, this is calling for more units to be committed. We can see just the brute force now. Blackwatch Legion coming in, Gundabad Guard. This is just going to end very badly. You can see Athelian Rangers continuing to fire. Ironford Crossbows continuing to fire. And I do believe somewhere over here I have my Blacklocks. Yeah. Where are they? Right up here, I think. Yeah. So my Blacklock Engineers slowly, not all of the unit, but a couple of them firing their armor-piercing bolts. And we can see, at this point I did see the Blackwatch Legion were definitely breaking through our lines. I did commit my Axemen of Erebor, my other spears over here. Over here I have my halberds. I'm going to start to commit them to this side. I am trying to use our superior positioning. We need to use that if we have any chance of winning. Just use our superior positioning and more elite units to fight against them, because they have mass in numbers over us. So we can see a very healthy unit of halberds being committed. Some Moran and infantry, very healthy, ready to go. Veterans of Osgiliath, very brave, holding back this tide, as well as my halberds, just to continue to let us take volleys. However, I have not continued to fire. I'm trying to not waste all my ammo, but trying to conserve it so we can do as much damage as possible. Over here, we can see I'm continuing to fire my crossbows. However, we are just getting completely pushed back. We're now committing my halberds and his Raven Helms of Karandros. You can see the Gundabad Guard just using their force to completely push right through our defenses. The right side very, very weak at this point. Guardians of Osgiliath at 12. My spears at 65. So we've definitely been cut down. The enslavers doing a lot of work, still brutally slaughtering our men. However, with the arrow fire, we are going to break his swordsmen, and the middle is pretty victorious, and the right side is really the only resistance left. So once we crush them, the defense will be ready on this side. However, the attackers are not going to give us any time, let us up. So they're going to be sending in their axe throwers, their pikemen. Can see, oh my god, some Faradram javelins moving up, as well as some swordsmen, a depleted unit. Hammer Guard now entering the battle. And as we can see, just a huge force of actually Mordor and Ingmar. They're using their forces. Ingmar being more of a support army, sending support to Mordor and Rudar, just using their brute force to push right through. However, they should just what they should do is just get all these units and force push them through. So they just send them all their men right here, so they can try to get out of range of these archers. However, my pikemen are going to be ready to stop them. It's just a matter of time before my halberds are cut down. And he's seeing his opportunity, so he is going to send his guardians of Karn Doom around. However, my crossbows are now firing, getting some nice volleys into this this huge blob, and they do have a great angle. Let's just look at this devastating volley. It's completely cutting through them. There's no match. Over here we can see we do have a defense. However, it's very unorganized. It doesn't really have a format to it. It's kind of just a unit here, a unit there. Most of our units very depleted. Gundabad Guard still at 63, proving a worthy competitor against all our units right here. My Axe Guard of Erebor still, they have taken a decent amount of casualties. Swordsmen, Faradram Javelins now being committed. Over here, you can see that the pikemen really, and the Witch Roman Slavers really did took a toll on all our units. However, we can see a great situation awareness from Rudar, setting up their javelins. They noticed a hole in our defense. They noticed that they could get onto the walls. Some Faradram Javelins now positioning themselves. My crossbowmen, presumably about one volley left. I have 1 or 2 volleys left. They did manage to cut down a lot of these units. The Scourge Raiders just throwing their projectiles, their axes into the Gondor archers, who are at 67. Can see Marine and infantry just kind of sitting on the wall. They should be sending. Oh, never mind. They are sending their guardians of Karn Doom right up to attack to silence these archers. My pikemen gonna hold as long as they possibly can. We can see some depleted units of halberds. I believe I saw the Nazgul. Yep, Nazgul. Where are they? Come on, I just saw them. Did they retreat? Let's see. I believe the Nazgul did retreat. Can't see them. They blend in. No, here they are, blending in with all the corpses. You can see the health unit of Nazgul and Temple Executioner is going to be very, very deadly. Some Scourge Raiders just kind of sitting here, throwing their javelins, doing their thing. My pikemen are slowly getting cut down, as we can see. I attempted to send my crossbows up to attack the Faradram Javelins to stop them. How we can just see they are just completely free to throw their javelins into my halberds, completely cutting them down. Every volley just taking huge tolls. We can see Gondor still leaving 1 unit of infantry and his vanguard. I did at this point start to retreat my spears up here because nobody was going to come there, so I wanted to take the chance to get my spears out of there before they were flanked. However, I believe at this point I'm starting to bring my forces. However, they're still really healthy. However, just the fact that they've already taken the walls. Our flank over here is already being destroyed, and I can't send reinforcements, or they'll just get caught right here and mowed down by the Faradram Javelins. However, you can't see my pikemen are routing. 46 pikemen routing 32 Gondor archers, and they are just free. Mordor and Ingmar are just free to completely destroy our defense. My crossbows, I'm trying to get my crossbows out of here. My sons of Durin still here. Gonna try to get them out of there. Really, we don't have much else. His vanguard are going to attempt to retreat, and however, I do see some what looks like some Rudar axemen going to pick up this ram. Potentially some more units, but so far we have a unit of 203 axemen. So proving the attackers are really, especially Rudar, really aware of the situation. However, Gondor infantry going to try to retreat this way. Not the smartest idea for them. They're just going to be caught here and cut down. Vanguard face the same fate as well. we can see Axemen going to bring up the ram and slowly take down these gates, and eventually I'm guessing they're going to move through here, however, just with the small amount of numbers they have. However, at this point, it's basically just some really elite units we have left. My Highborns, so my Highborns, my Obsidian Guard, Dragon Slayers, he has his Numlothian Honor Guard, and his Wardens of the White Tower. I have my Spearmen retreating, and just like a flood of our units. My Blacklock Engineers still right here, however, I'm going to retreat them, realize that it's really not units I want to be fighting. However, Mordor does still have his infantry up here. I really suggest at this point the attackers should really send up, if they do have any skirmishers left, send up a unit, some skirmishers on these walls. However, I do believe they have used a lot of their skirmishers in the initial attack, so that is one good thing for us. Most of our low tier units took a lot of those javelins, those arrows. However, I do see the Rangers. Yeah, Rangers are now entering the settlement, potentially going to go up onto the wall, and they have a nice angle. I did try to set up a small defense here, however, it's not going to go very well. Just based on the amount of numbers they have and the small unit I have, it's gonna hold for a very, very, very limited amount of time. It was kind of there for the rear guard, but at this point everything's retreated, so I should just take them back. But however, I am sending reinforcements with the Ironfoot Spears. We can see some depleted Gundabad guards, some mainly just depleted units. However, we do see the Black Guards, the Hammer Guard, and Slavers over here. Yeah, so the infantry. Alright, so they've breached the first gate on the other side. So, you can see Gondor infantry just kind of wasted. Ferojum javelins, and they are getting outflanked by the Witch Realm Blackguard, Hammer Guard, and Slavers. So at this point, it's not going to go too well. However, even though these guys are very shiny and it's kind of hard to miss them, the attackers did not see the Vanguard, so they're kind of just safe up there. However, we can see the Nazgul Executioners moving up, but most of these are just depleted units. We can see some Orc Javelins, 15 of them. Actually, they can do some decent damage. The Rangers are actually heeding what I said, 53 of them. Moving up onto the wall, just going to start firing, presumably into them. I have my crossbows. They're very, very low on ammunition. I was kind of just using them to soak up some of the ammo, because I wanted the javelins and the Rangers to focus on my crossbows instead of my front line. However, as you can see, they're not doing that. What I should have done, and what I realized, is I am starting to retreat my men behind the spears, which is a little mistake I always make when I try to do this type of defense. I usually put my pikes and stuff in front of the spears, which I should not do. However, we can see the Trebuchet getting some pretty nice hits into some pretty elite units. Marin infantry, not so much. But I believe that there was a couple. Where are they? No, I might be wrong. So we can see healthy units of Minas Morgul's Chosen. They are looking very nice. 42 very depleted Snog archers. We're a little bit more than halfway through. Everyone's kind of just marching their troops up here. Let's see, what does Mordor have? Alright, so they have their Chol catapults, their Olog High, and their Orc javelins. A pretty healthy unit. As well as Blackguard of Barad-dûr, who are at 200. Oh, 2 units of them. So we have about 400 unit models just right here. Can see the Rangers continuing to fire. I didn't really want to waste my crossbows ammunition on them. However, at this point, it's getting a little bit tiring, and I decide to release 1 to 2 volleys into the Rangers. It's not really justified. I kind of did this and just to show them that I was gonna fire back. However, I only really have like a couple volleys left, so I had 1 volley. Yeah, and this was a blank fire. And then from here, I just started using them as a kind of a sponge to soak up all the ammo. My centrifugerin, I was sending an attack force because at this point I was so busy. Microing somewhere else. I didn't know this small force was had already breached the other wall. So I started to send a unit of my spears, a unit of dragon slayers, and I tried to send my sons of Jiren. However, the pathfinding really made them go out into the open, so they took a couple casualties. Nothing too major. We can't see Raven Helms of Kirandros marching out. So I was planning on doing a small attack on the rear of the enemy once they engaged. Not too early, not too late. However, in about a couple minutes, I realized that there is a force of Rudar Axemen, and they did have some hidden units. They have, a unit of nobles. Oh no! Wow, actually, oh wow, a decently sized force. So they got some black wolves, a pretty nice unit, very scary, armor piercing, I believe. Another unit of axemen, and the unit I was really not looking forward to most. I was despising the most, the axe throwers. So Rudar really using their javelins in this match. So at this point, I was slowly marching up my spears and shield wall because why not? And at about this point, I realized that there was axemen. So it's like I'll realize very soon, and then I will retreat, of course. So over here, actually the Raven Helms of Kirandros, pushing through the lines, going to potentially going after these Naga archers. However, this Naga archers just gonna retreat, and just based off the numbers of them left and their skill, they're really not a threat. I don't know why people love to go off the Naga archers. I get it, they're annoying and stuff, but can't see now that the Black Guard are coming in. The Raven Helms really, they don't like this fight. This isn't a fight that they would like to take. However, they're gonna take it. We can see they're getting poked by the Marin halberds. Some more orc javelins, a healthy unit of them moving in, and they're just gonna be overwhelmed. My front line, my pikes, looking very, very, very weak at this point. My spears, 97, so they're not. They haven't taken the most casualties. My Ironfoot crossbowmen now doing what I needed to for them to soak up the ranger ammunition. However, I am going to retreat them soon because I realized it might not have been the smartest choice. So at this point, I did realize that there was a small force, so I started retreating my men, and they didn't really pursue until now. So they gave me a little bit of a head start. The axe throwers started moving up. Potentially, they try to get some volleys into the spears. However, I did start retreating my men up here, and I would leave the spears right here to perform the second defense. However, these three units right here is going to be thrown away, as well as some of my crossbowmen. Kind of a misjudgment on my part and the Gondorian player's part. However, he only committed one unit to attempt to. Actually, that didn't even get completely cut down. So it was basically my error. But at this point, the orc javelins just one volley just kind of cut half of my units in half. So yeah, that makes sense. No questions about it. Ironfoot crossbowmen up here. Rangers finally out of ammo. They kind of just wasted their ammo and took unneeded casualties. However, I did notice it was a blob of decently elite infantry, Moranian infantry, and I believe there's some hammer guard in there somewhere. So I did take the chance. However, the orc javelins really getting revenge for throwing their jabs right into my line. Let's see the crossbowmen winding up to take another volley. I think this is gonna be a blank shot. At this point, I did realize my mistake and I started retreating them. I did end up I am gonna end up making a defense right here. Can't see axe throwers. Actually, it would have been a really nice chance to engage them because they are only a single unit, and with Sons of Jiren or anything, I can cut them down to size and get that annoying unit out of my way. Pikes still at 50, or the spears. pikes at 17. So this defense was kind of just completely destroyed. And at this point, we just have a lot of elite units here. Some Temple Executioners went there, taken 3 losses, and just this is all consists of elite units and units that are depleted. However, at this point, we saw the Witchers. We remembered that he had the Vanguard. However, we did decide that it would be better to wait, because before we could get to the Witchers, we would just be overwhelmed by all of these forces. Because if you see, Temple Executioners could just stop them. And look at all these units. Witchers are a very important thing to keep alive, so they're gonna value them. So at this point, we decided to wait, and I didn't realize, but they ended up marching up here. So we ended up should have just taken the chance, but we did not. So over here, my pikes and spears is putting up a last stand. They're very depleted. Finally, I do believe I did slightly sally out, I believe. Or, no, I didn't. I will soon. So Axeman bringing down the wall with a ram. My spearmen getting into position. I have retreating my dragon slayers. I have a pretty depleted unit of halberds. However, they can do the job of holding, as well as some pikes who are really there to just defend walls like this. And they had just some elite infantry in the center. Gonna get ready to set up I will eventually send my crossbows up to the walls. You can see my forces of spears and pikes are now routing, getting cut down by the hammer guard. So it really, if we look here, was mainly casualties on my part, just minor casualties from them. You can see the trebuchet kind of getting caught here. I don't think it was out of ammo because it didn't fire many volleys. Alright, so there goes the gate. My spears are going to defend it. However, I do realize that he has his axe throwers, and he has a nice position. I'm just going to start throwing javelins right into my spears. However, even though they do have some nice shields and armor, they are still going to take a beating. So eventually, they're just going to wear away spears until there's no more. So you can see just those axes just deadly. It's doing so much. At that point, I realized that they're just going to sit there until they were completely gone. Axe throwers ready to throw another volley. However, my spears running forward to meet the axe throwers in melee. And they probably won't be slightly bad. However, they are going to retreat. I don't even think they took a casualty. And the axemen are going to, of course, meet my spears. You can just see a layer of dead spearmen. He did send his Nimlothian honor guard just to defend that gate. Over here, they're just kind of getting their forces ready. Just moving them up. Let's see, Temple Executioners. Because we did see at first an opportunity. The Witchers were now here. And we didn't realize that they were eventually going to move up here. So a little bit of unawareness, I guess we could say, just because we didn't really realize that the Witchers were eventually going to move up here. So we can see the Hammer Guard coming back down, Rangers defending the backs, some very depleted units starting to move up. At this point, it would be a great time because there is still elite units, but the Witchers would be open. However, then we realized that there was 2 units of Miss Marvel's Chosen marching up. And it was not a good idea. Moran and Infantry, a depleted unit. Troll Catapult now coming up, as well as the 2 units of Blackguard. You can see Moran and Halberds actually routing. I guess they got scared because I guess they heard all the dwarves shouting and stuff. So I guess they got scared away. So at this point, I'll speed it up a bit because it's basically just everyone moving up. However, my spearmen are still fighting out here. believe, yeah. So, Axemen, just another unit of Axemen down here. As well as the Axe Throwers. It's kind of retreating down here. The Cav's is really not going to be able to do much. Because even if they get up here, it's an uphill charge. And against Spearmen, you wouldn't want to charge. He's sending his Ravenholm's Peregrine Marines. So we're just setting up our next defense. I did move my Blacklocks up here, and my crossbows up here, Iron Foot crossbows, to get a nice shot. We do have the Wardens of the White Tower. It's going to defend this gate. Obsidian Guard. Yeah, so at this point, it's kind of just everybody's moving their units into position. The Vanguard is still up there. Waiting for the perfect time. The Witches are now completely untouchable. Like this right here is so many. This right here, if Blacklock engineers could shoot right into this, that would be devastating. However, that's not going to be possible. But at this point, our chance to attack the Witchers was basically lost due to passivity. That was on my part. The Gundar player really, because if your teammate's going to do something, you have to do it too. So that was kind of, I think, the thinking you had. As well as we're both pretty darn new to the .97 patch. I haven't played, I don't know, since the last patch. I don't know what it was, but I took a pretty long break. But I am gonna be back to uploading Third Age Reforged content. All right. So not really a defense at the gate right now. Just kind of units scattered everywhere. How's it going down here for my Spearmen? Yeah. So my Spearmen kind of reinforced by the Peregrine Marines and stuff. And the depleted Ravenhelms, but it really wasn't enough. Now the Black Wolves and the Axemen, really just too much. However, the Axemen did get cut down. The Black Wolves lost about almost 30 men to the unit, so it really wasn't very beneficial though. How I lost about almost 30 men, probably more than 30 to the Axe Throwers. Alright, so they did move the ram up here. However, it's going to be decently hard for them to move skirmishers up here. However, I don't think they have any left. Just due to the fact that they've already skirmished us down so much. However, they do have the Orc Javelins, so I misspoke. But let's not forget about the Witchers, however. The Trebuchet, I don't know if this was a tactical play or an accident. However, the Trebuchet ended up getting stuck right here. Or not stuck, but ended up being killed. The team was killed off. So it is going to prevent Axe Throwers, Javelins, any kind of missile unit to shoot through the gate. Because they would all go into this. However, the Troll Catapult's getting nice and close to this wall. To try to shoot it down, however, I mean, of course nothing could happen to them here, but wouldn't be a very smart decision if this was actually a thing, because they just get crushed by the falling debris. But the gates are down. The gates are down. Obsidian Guard charging out for some reason. This was like one of the issues that I always have with pathfinding. I actually lost like 2 or 3 of the individual unit models, so that was pretty unfortunate because they're pretty elite. It's not the type of unit you want to have a mistake and then lose them, because they can hold their own. However, just when they're trying to run back and there's just many units around them, not the best. So I do have my halberds in position, in a nice position to engage. They're ready to meet the enemy. We can see, I believe, yeah, the Vanguard's still up here. However, he eventually notices that there's just a unit, Moran and Infantry, my bad. So I guess he just couldn't resist to cut them down. But at this point, it's really too late. There's no way that we could reach the Witchers. There's just way too many units. So he's gonna start to take down this wall. Let's see, one shot. I will slow it down once we get an engagement, which will not be for a while. Alright, you can see the Axemen marching up, the Cav, and we can see there was the Blackwolds have engaged the Nimlothian Honor Guard, so it's going to be the Blackwolds most likely will be defeated. However, with all the reinforcements, the Honor Guard are really just going to be there to hold the Rudar troops back. So my counterattack really didn't work. You can see the wall's down to 40%, and this is just going to be another choke point we have to defend. So so that was good for the attackers. Instead of being super passive and instead of taking one way, they're gonna make more. They're gonna make, because usually when the attackers usually just take the gate, but in this case they are gonna utilize their Shoal Catapult, which is a pretty good resource, and actually take down the gate. So that's gonna be one more place we have to commit our units. I did start taking volleys, as you can see from all the troops on the ground from the Orc Javelin, so I did do a small sally out just to try to stop them from firing. However, I just kind of got myself cut down. So we can see my armor for halberds are now out of position. They're half of them are still outside. They're out of position, and they're just depleted at this point. So this would be a great time for them to just use their numbers, because as you can see, a lot of these units have a lot of mass, so they could just push right through. As well as I haven't even committed my units over here yet, so I am moving up some pikes to defend this wall once it goes down. Once the Troll Catapult finishes, I think one more. Yep, and the wall is down. So at this point, they're attacking from 3 ways. So at this point, that's a good choice. We can see the Honor Guard holding, but they are slowly being cut down. Blackwolds still at 34, so they are getting pretty depleted. You can see the Axemen, the Troll Shot Axe Throwers. Now, I don't know, it looks like they want to throw an axe, but it looks like they have their weapons out. So I'm not really sure what they're doing at this point, but we're really running low. Really, it's 78 to 76. So at this point, we're already low on numbers. They have a 2% advantage, and really at this point, like, we need the advantage. So at this point, sorry to say at this point so much, but now that they've killed more of us, and they have more troops than us, it's really not looking very good. So we can see the Vanguard is now going to be taking an engagement with one Marin and Halberd, and then they're going to go straight for the Olag High. However, charging the Olag High, just with their one lonesome unit, so Olag High just going to use they're just going to use their weapons of destruction and just completely destroy this unit. However, the unit might do some damage to Olag High, since they're by themselves. However, we can see the Witchers did get stuck in combat. So I was really hoping to keep them there. However, they just ran right away, realizing that the Witchers are going to be an important asset. So there goes Gondor's general. We can see just a couple depleted units storming in. Witchers haven't started taking shots. They did lose 2 unit models. So yeah, it looks like they're getting ready to fire. Or no, they're just going to get a better position. My Obsidian Guard now joining into the fight. I'm realizing that at this point, like, things are looking really worrying. We're getting completely pushed through at this gate. We have nothing to stop them. At this gate, they're starting to. Witcher's actually running into combat. They haven't even used a volley. They're probably trying to get through. So at this point, it's not looking good for us. At this point, my pikes are at 97. They're gonna hold, but it's just a matter of time before they are broken through. Over here, the Obsidian Guard trying their best to hold back this horde, actually doing it almost by themselves. The Wardens of the White Tower, 2 left. At this point, they should just use their brute force to push right through. I did realize and sent my Axe Guard up there. I'm sending my Axe Guard to stop the them from me breaking through, but at this point, it's too late. And the Witcher is just kind of killing my dreams. My unit went from a full unit to instantly breaking. We can see just a whole bunch of Asgard just laying dead. At this point, I started using some ammo of my Black Lux and my, as you can see, my crossbows. I realized that Mordor was actually sending units to stop my men from firing my crossbows. So at this point, I was like, my crossbows, my Black Lux still have all their ammo left, almost all their ammo left, and my Ironford crossbows are almost out. So I sacrificed them to hold this gate off. However, we can see the Witchers just devastating our front lines. At this point, there's we can't even say that there's a front line. We don't even have any units over here. I'm sending my Highborns of Erebor and my Sons of Durin to hold for as long as we possibly can. You can see I am also sending my Dragon Slayers, so almost three of the most elite units from Dwarves of Erebor. However, even with all my elite infantry coming in, and my crossbows now about to start firing, there's just really nothing we can do about all of this. They still have reserves. Wait, never mind. They do not have reserves. However, it's just too many. We don't have enough units for this. However, you can see I just, even though like half of the unit was still in combat because they got stuck, I did realize that we did have a problem, and I needed to try to do something. So I am using my Black Locks to fire into the Blackguard, and they just completely destroyed this entire section over here. However, realizing this, they did send up their Orc Javelins, which are not going to win against the Black Locks, but they're going to silence them. So, getting a blank shot, sadly. Ironford Crossbows trying their best to hold against the Morgul's Chosen. However, they're going to be defeated. Luckily, they are only a spear unit, so it is going to take them some time, but they will defeat the crossbows. The Blacklock's not going to be engaged with the javelins. Blacklocks will cut them down, but they will do their job and stop them from firing. As you can see, the Midlothian Guards at 37, taking about 40 losses since the last time we saw them. I do have my halberds, Ironford halberds over here. However, I noticed the Witchers were here. They were attempting to shoot into the halberds. They're going to reposition themselves, and soon I will notice that and I will attack. However, it's just a matter of time before these Gondorian soldiers break, and the remaining Rudar units come storming into the last stand. I can see, or you guys can see, Witchers are now. It says they're reloading. However, they're just kind of glitched because some of them are fighting. However, they are now ready, and as you can see, right into the backs of my Dragon Slayers and my Sons of Durin, just completely killing about half the unit. It's deadly. Just the only hope we had is now gone. The two of the most elite units for Erebor just got cut in half by the Witchers. However, we can see they're getting ready for another volley, and oh no, they're aiming straight for the halberds, the last defense over here. And with that one volley right into the center, once the entire unit of halberds is now gone, and they were wavering. However, hopefully they're going to silence them. No, even more. They're going to fire right into the backside of the Midlothian Guard, breaking the last stand here, and releasing the forces of Rudar. You can see I do have scattered units of Highborns, Dragon Slayers, and Sons of Durin. My Blacklock engineers are doing what they need to do against those javelins. They are going to break through them. Still, still actually a couple Blacklock engineers and the rest of the unit of Ironford crossbows still fighting against the Morgul's Chosen. However, it's just a matter of time, like I said. The question is it enough time for my Blacklock engineers to fire? However, forgot to mention this, but we can see that there is only a couple seconds left until the enemy take the castle. And unfortunately today, Dale fell. I mean, Mordor, Rudard, and their allies did take a lot of casualties in doing so. However, they did take it. As you can see, Gondor really, since they were the main force who defended all of this, of course, getting a lot of kills, almost 2,000 more than I did. However, we did talk, and I was going to be the last stand here. However, I did make quite a few mistakes. So did the attackers did pretty well. They were very aware of their situation and everything. They saw when they had when there's advantages that they could take, and they really did a great job. So thank you once again for everybody who participated, especially Gondor. He put up a very great fight, almost 4,000 kills. He did fight the outer layer, and I kind of just helped. So I will now show you guys the kills. The Ironford crossbows really did work. 310 from the first, almost 400 from the second. Black Lock Engineers unfortunately only got to fire a couple volleys. So, but even within those couple volleys, almost they caught up to the Ironford crossbows just with the couple volleys. That just shows you how deadly. Ironford Axe Throwers 276. However, they did kind of go to waste because I kind of threw them into orc fodder. The spears and the halberds really not really they weren't really worth it, because just of the way that Rudar was introduced to the fight, because he used his javelins very well, and he literally before I would even engage, they were already half cut down from the javelin. So Rudar congratulations to Rudar is what I'm trying to say. He did especially very well for his team. He was the main one who kind of broke through, and as we can see, my infantry just didn't perform very well. Sadly, I can't see Gondor's stats in their units, but I believe it would have been crazy. So once again, thank you everybody for playing in this battle. Thank you everyone for watching. I apologize for the the stutters. And just like when I get caught up. So if you guys would like to watch me on Twitch, I'm going to start going live now, streaming Reforged. So you can find me on twitch.tv/TK_mod. So thank you everyone for watching the battle. I hope you guys have a great day.